It's a really popular restaurant in West Hollywood, and I walk in, and Ron Jeremy's sitting at
No
the
way.
bar. Yeah, on my way out after eating, Marilyn Manson walks in. So
No way. Ask this.
yeah,
Ask
yeah,
this.
yes.
Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck do you think you are? Let's go!
Like I said, we're on tour, new members for a Scarlet Drive.
I break the world just to keep you on the outside. This is what you created. I'm fucking dead inside. We're all together. Kill us, what's for each other.
How are you, dude?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Why anime? I notice you do a lot of anime covers. Is there something, a reasoning? Is it like kind of like doing what I guess like we all have an inner child, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
everyone who loves anime fucking love anime. So I think it's a great audience to tap into, but I was asking why anime?
So my wife has always been into that culture, like the anime and Japanese culture. She grew up watching anime, reading manga, and she still reads manga today. Like
Mm,
this morning, she was awake at like 4 a.m. and then I turned around and she was actually reading manga. So she definitely has a profound love for it, and I never really tapped into it
mm,
until like maybe like 5 6 months ago when she used to go to a lot of like the anime conventions in the area, so like
mhm,
Ottawa, Montreal, and stuff like that.
mhm,
And she said that she wanted to start going back again, and I went with her to we went to Comic Con back in July, but Comic Con is more like for comic books, like more Marvel and
mhm,
DC related, which I'm not too big on superheroes, but we went to this convention called Otakuthon in Montreal, and that's purely fully like anime and all of those things. And I just loved the atmosphere. The people were so nice there.
mhm.
There's so many people and great cosplays, and
Yeah.
like I've always appreciated like these giant, really good costumes. And we did the Montreal weekend, and then like the week after there was the Toronto convention, and then we're like, fuck it, let's just book a spontaneous trip and go to Toronto. And yeah, we had a lot of fun there as well. And all these conventions have like so many different activities where people have to like guess like poorly described animes, for example.
Mhm.
So an animator will be on stage and poorly describe an anime, and like people just like raise their hand right away. Like people are so
Yeah, yeah.
dedicated to the series, and they know everything about it. And we started watching a few series, and I've always appreciated the music behind like the intro songs and the music behind the anime itself. And my wife was like, "Oh, you should, make covers on TikTok of anime intros." And I did a few, and like they started popping off. And but to me, like the views don't really matter as much. I have so much fun doing it, so I just love the music. I love the people. I love everything about it.
Yeah, and anime, like you said, it's a dedicated audience, and not just that, it's a huge audience. And I want to point out, like, you don't care about the views, and I think that's understandable, for someone like you who's kind of been on the internet for a long time. Like, you've had the views, you've done the shows, you've done the recording studio sessions, and that's another question I wanted to ask is, you're still in Horcrux?
No, I actually stopped performing with bands about a year ago now. Like I want to say my last show, I can't remember. I think it was November of last year.
Mm.
And with Horcrux, we played the last show October of last year. So I kind of took a step back from performing live with bands. So at the moment, I don't have any musical projects other than my covers
Mm.
on my media platforms.
And not only that, it takes so much. Like I rap, and it's. I was talking to my brother about that. I'm like, for me to go at a studio to record a rap song, it's like minimum $300 for them to mix and master everything. I can't even imagine recording a fucking like a metalcore song or heavy metal song. Like the amount of money that you have to put into these shows and recording your music, it's so costly. And I'm sure you
Yeah,
can agree with that. My mom was texting me last time, like, Matt, you have some wasted talent with your rap. You gotta do more. I'm like, don't you think I tried? I did it for 8 years
yeah,
trying. I need money. And it's not even
yeah.
about the money. It's like, it gets to a point where, for me personally, the fun out of the art disappears once you stress so much on it. And
Hmm.
that's why I love that you're just doing whatever you want right now. And I feel like that's when you
Yeah,
get the most joy, right?
exactly. That's why I took a step back from performing with bands because, like you said, like things aren't cheap anymore. Like when I started so many years ago, you could go to a studio and shoot a music video and do all those things for less than $1,000.
Yeah, that's
And
nothing.
now, like $1,000 can't even get you a music video anymore.
Can't
Like
even get
a
you
really
recording a
good.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Mm.
exactly. Luckily, with Horcrux and with my last band, Salem Trials, most of us were all pretty um, like we had our ways around, and we had methods of recording most of the things
Mhm.
ourselves,
Yeah.
and so we would save a lot of money on the recording. But then we wanted to get professionally mixed and mastered, so then that's when we would outsource it to other people who are
Mhm.
much better at those things than we are, and to me, like music stopped being fun when money got really involved. So as soon as, nowadays, it's really hard to promote your music without paying people to do it. And I fully understand that a lot of
Mhm.
people have really good connections, but like we said, we have to record the song. You have to, shoot some sort of art style, a video, or get a graphic done by
Mhm.
someone. And then you also have to take for account that if you want your song to reach people, you're gonna have to outsource it through like Facebook ads or YouTube ads, Google ads, or even other creators, right? Like some
Mhm.
creators will react to your music, but there's obviously some sort of price
Of course.
behind all of those things.
Or even like having a bigger channel buying a video from you, you know? And then it can
Yeah,
blow up and make more money than the amount they offered you. And you're like, at the end, it's like you can't win. It's like either you get the recognition, lose a bit of money, or and that's the thing that sucks about the industry is money, 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 money.
hmm,
And nowadays, I think we're pretty like fortunate that we have the resources we have now because you could probably start a band yourself in your house right now. You know, I
yeah,
noticed that your screams has always been good, always, but I noticed that your vocals, like your singing, got a lot better from
yeah.
from your MPK cover to your last cover you did singing. Your highs now are actually like good, you know,
Thanks, man.
and
Thank you.
that's a question I would like to ask you because that's an argument I have with my brother often. It's like I tell him I think that singing, like let's say Justin Bieber talent, is
Yeah.
harder than learning how to scream. And that could piss off metalheads. Would you agree that it's harder to get a better singing voice than it is to start screaming?
Yes, I agree
Mhm.
100%
My brother's gonna
because
be so pissed. What? Yeah.
I can't like when I started screaming, when I started doing vocals, like I was, struggling a little bit, but I still to this day have issues like singing and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, just because I don't think I have the ear to figure out the notes and the pitches and all that.
Mhm.
Or I have I've never taken any sort of vocal coaching, so I don't
Mhm.
know what songs would fit into my range or what songs would be either too low or too high. But
Mm,
for screaming, it's easy. You know, I hear a song, okay, this
yeah.
it's very easy. You got lows, mids, and highs
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
your vocals, right? Whereas singing, it's so much more like it's so much more open,
Yeah,
you know?
I agree, and I never really took vocal lessons. And if I go back to my old singing to now, like I did progress a bit, but I for sure have like my range is very like there's low, and then there's like before mid, and then there's highs that I just can't do. I have this little range here, and it sucks
Yeah.
because I want to get better, but you know, your voice is an instrument for sure, and it's hard because sometimes you'll listen to a song like let's say Popular Monster by Falling in Reverse. You're like, oh, you're gonna try to sing it. You're like, what the fuck? I can't hit that note. It seems like they're not singing high, and then you try and you're like, holy fuck, he sings high, Ronnie. And
Yeah, it's funny because I tried when Falling in Reverse was doing the big comeback. I forget what year. I want to say 2016, 2017, when they released what is it? Losing My Life and Losing My Mind,
after he got out of
and
jail or something.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. When they started really coming back hard, they released this song called I think it's Drugs, and the chorus has so many vocals going on, and I really liked the high harmony of
Mhm.
that song. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to record a cover,
Yeah,
and as soon as I go to sing it, I'm like, man, like this is really hard. I
yeah,
can't do this. So I
yeah,
I recorded it, sat on it, wasn't good. I just trashed it after.
yeah, yeah. I have moments like that too, and that was it. That was one of my questions to you, but I guess I'll answer myself. But I had a question. What's your toxic trait as an artist? Mine is thinking I can do any genres. And then I do it and I'm just like, yeah, I can't do it. I think I can tap into everything. Country, punk rock. Um, I can't. I gotta stick with rap, man. That's my toxic
Yeah.
trait.
Oh man, this is a good question.
I know. Great.
Um, Toxic trait as an artist. Um,
Maybe it's even just something that you have to work on, but you're just like, later, later.
yeah, I guess I never really finish songs.
Same.
Like I'll start writing a song and I'm like, oh this is like it's pretty good. I call myself like the one riff wonder where I'll come up with like a really good section,
Yeah.
but I can't follow up with it.
Hmm.
So I just end up either never listening to it again or try to Frankenstein it with a bunch of other things, which
Yeah.
never ends up
I have a
like
question.
sounding really good. Yeah,
Are you ADHD?
very.
That's why.
Yeah,
That's why. I'm the same, man.
undiagnosed, but I believe that that has to
You
come into some sort of play.
it's almost like it's really hard to explain, and I explain it to people. There's a reason why I can't do studio time. It's because they book you in for a certain day. You're in this certain emotion of making a song, and then they book you in for like 5 days from now. By that time, you go there and you're like, I don't have that same energy. Like,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to vocals, it's like, I don't know, that day I was really like angry in this song, and now I just gotta like relive those. Like, I can't do it. That's why I rather do it at home. But doing at home, obviously, it's not the same quality as a studio. But that's my toxic trait too. It's I got many when it comes to music. It's if I work on a song, it has to be done that day. No
yeah.
questions
See,
asked.
I'm the exact same way
Yeah.
too. Whenever I record covers as well,
Mhm.
I can't record it halfway and then come back to it later. Like
Yeah.
I started this thing. I have to finish it right
Mhm.
now.
100%. And I guess maybe it's I can't blame everything on ADHD, but it's funny because I'm the same, and I know it's because of that. It's almost like you get dopamine from something, and you'll listen to that riff like 50 times, and you'll be like, "Yeah, that's fucking good, man." And you're like, "All right, what's next?" And I'm like, "Huh, look, squirrel!" Like,
Yeah,
bye. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but
yeah. Let's open up TikTok, scroll a little bit, and
yeah, yeah,
think
yeah,
about it, and
yeah.
then just come back later.
Yeah, I know. Like, oh, I'll just go watch TV for, and then you go back to the song, and you're like, I don't feel like doing it anymore. and then it goes to
Yeah.
Google Drive files, and you got like thousands of riffs, and you're just like, but that's good. It's like Eminem kind of does that, right? Like he writes a bunch of lines on a piece of paper till this day, and then he'll look at it when he's making a full verse. When he's really working on a song, he'll just go back. So it's not garbage, man. Whenever you need like some something to help you out with something at a writer's block, you just look at you listen to old riffs of yours or old recordings, and you're like, oh, okay, that would fit in that key for this song. Cool.
Yeah.
Um, I have a question. On a scale
Yeah,
of
go
1
ahead.
to 10, how much did you annoy your parents practicing screaming as a kid?
Definitely over 10
Over
for
10?
sure.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
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 easily. Especially paired with my brother who plays drums, right?
yeah,
My mom wouldn't really care so much about it. She'd just go upstairs, put on her TV, and she'd kind of like drown it out.
yeah,
But you know, my stepdad didn't really appreciate like all the noise when he would come from home.
hmm,
He would want to relax, sit by the TV, and quiet and just slowly pass out.
yeah,
Fully understandable. I'm
yeah,
getting to that age now where passing out in front of the TV is pretty nice. So we would have this window between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. that my brother and I could make as much noise as possible.
oh, nice,
So we would try to squeeze it in as much as we could.
yeah,
But when I started playing shows growing up, and I needed more practice than between 3 to 5. So
hmm,
I feel like definitely annoyed my parents. I still hear them talk about it to this day
yeah,
whenever we have family parties or anything.
yeah,
They're just like, "Oh, remember you used to scream really loud?" And
yeah, I still
yeah,
do,
yeah,
but
exactly.
yeah, that's, I guess, the best place to really do it is in your car, man. I don't know if you
Yeah,
do that, but I do. I'll just
yeah,
on my way here, I was practicing crawling in my skin, just that line from Linkin Park, low, mid, high, low, and I was like, dude, I'm killing the highs, and then I recorded myself doing the high, and I listened back to it. I was like, yep, fuck that shit, I can't do it.
yeah,
You think,
yeah. Actually,
yeah, you listen to the
yeah,
instrumental, you're fucking singing it, you're like, I got this, and then you record yourself singing it, and you're like, yeah, I don't. That's my toxic
yeah.
trait, man.
Funny story about practicing in cars. So, um, when Lorna Shore was blowing up, like I think it's maybe 2 years now, or maybe last year, when they got their new vocalist,
Mhm,
I did a vocal cover of the first song they dropped with their new vocalist, and that cover blew up. Like I
mhm,
think it might be around the 80,000 views on YouTube right now. And so I told myself, okay, when they release a new song, I have to be the first one to put out the cover.
mhm,
And so the song dropped in Australia the day before.
mhm.
So let's say the song drops tomorrow, the 26th. Well, it would actually be out in Australia right now.
Okay,
So
okay.
I posted a status on all of my social medias. I was like, whoever can like illegally download this song for me, send it to me with the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'll pay you. I'll send you a
Gotcha.
PayPal or something. And someone came through, but they only got the song and the lyrics to me at like 9:30 p.m.
Mhm,
On an evening, and I lived in an apartment back then, and like there's people all around me, above me, beside me, and I really wanted to get it done, and so I actually took my MacBook and my microphone in my car,
yeah.
and then I recorded the cover in my car
Done
at
that
like
before,
10
man.
p.m.
I've done
Yeah,
that
yeah.
before, because especially
It's
with
so
rappers, man, you can't. It's with rap, it's something, but with screaming, that's something else. Like, dude, you don't even need to be in an apartment building. Your next door neighbor will hear you, you know?
yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly.
but I've been there before, man, and it's funny when like you meet someone you know, like like, oh, hi, and you don't like they see you in your truck. I'm just like, hey, and they don't know what you're doing. I'm just like, don't talk to me. I'm recording right now, you know. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
been there before, man. What's your best career highlight? If what's the one thing you'll always remember?
It will always be the South by So What festival that I played with the Skylar Drive
Hmm,
back in 2015. I think I forget what the city is, but it's somewhere in Texas. I want to say it's Dallas, but I could be totally wrong.
Austin?
And
Is that
uh,
Dallas? Austin? No.
no, no, it's two separate things. I think I haven't been to the
Spain.
States in so long, so I don't really remember, but there's a city where they have a baseball stadium,
Mm.
and essentially they rent out the baseball stadium for a whole weekend, and it's kind of like a mini. It's like Rockfest
Okay.
if I compare it to what we have here. It's like Rockfest, but in a baseball stadium,
Mm.
and essentially like where there's all the foods, there's like the band set up with merch tables, and there's, I think the year that we played there was maybe three or four stages. And when we started the tour, I had no idea what this festival was, but then I drove the night before and I ended up sleeping until pretty late the next day, and I get woken up by, I think it was our drummer at the time. He's like, "Okay, let's go. We're playing in half an hour," but it was 2 p.m.
Mm.
And I'm like, "Okay, this is really weird." And I come out of our RV, and then there's like golf carts just taking all of our equipment for us, like, and
Damn.
I was so confused. I was like, "Okay, what are we playing today?" And it takes us to the stage, and we played the main stage right before Ice Nine Kills.
Hmm.
And dude, the place was packed. We only played for like maybe 25 minutes, but that will be my favorite show, my highlight of my entire career.
That's
It was
crazy,
such a
man.
good show.
There must have been like, I don't know, 10,000 people? Five, ten
Um,
thousand?
I would definitely say probably around five,
That's
maybe
still a
maybe
lot, man.
a little less. I don't know really, but it was like the main stage at Rockfest, but like, and filled with people
Hmm.
all the way to the back.
Yeah.
So yeah,
5,000 people is a lot of people, man. I know
yeah,
it might sound little to people who hear about like 30,000, but like put 5,000 people in front of you, that's a lot of people. Even a venue with 500 people, that's a lot.
yeah,
Even
yeah.
filling out a venue with 500 people is a fucking, it's a, it's an accomplishment, man. But
Hmm.
damn, I didn't know that because I didn't follow you, I guess, as much along the journey that you were on. I did remember, which is like a following question that I got, but I did remember you posting like a picture of a transformation with your weight. And we remembered you in our town as someone that was skinny, and out of nowhere, you were like fucking bulked up. And are you still into
Yeah.
fitness?
Yeah, yeah, I still go. I used to go like back then, like probably 6, 7 days a week.
Mm.
But now it's down to, I brought it down to five, and now it's down to four.
Honestly,
But
I find even three is good. You can hit all
yeah,
muscle groups in 3 days.
yeah, exactly.
And is there anything you did to get to that weight, or do you think like kind of your body was just maturing at the right time? Because I'm going through it right now, man. I'm 26, and in 2021 I was 120, 2022 I was 130, 2023 I'm 140. It's like 10 pounds a year, man, but like I do all the right things to try to gain. And
Yeah.
my dad just tells me, wait till you're 30. You're gonna start gaining your weight. So what was your
I
regimen like?
It was the guys in a Skylar Drive. I would say everyone in the band except for me really had like a fitness journey where they also started off like really small.
Mhm.
And if I take for example Nick, the other guitar player, he was probably even smaller than I was when I was growing up. At that age when he was like 18, 19, he was probably 100 pounds soaking wet.
Mhm.
And he like changed so many things and started working out. And he's like massive now, big guy. Like if you were to put uh, previous pictures of him and pictures of him now, uh, totally different
Yeah,
person.
yeah,
So I always liked like fitness and like lifting weights, and but I didn't really have anyone in my surroundings that was really into it as
yeah.
much. But now that I was on the road with them, they would go literally every single day. You know, that they
Mm,
lived by eating right and going to the gym
mhm.
and then playing a show.
Yeah,
You know, that was our whole routine, and we. It's funny because we used to take turns every day calling local gyms, explaining that, hey, we're a touring band. We just want to lift weights for an hour. You know, like let us in for free. You know,
yeah, 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 yeah.
we would take turns trying to get a free pass at the gym, and then we'd actually settle for the gym that would give us the cheapest or a free pass. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
and coming back, like when I stopped touring, when we stopped touring completely, I signed up for a gym because the guys had shown me so many things back then. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know if YouTube was really big in or the fitness side of YouTube was really big back then.
I don't
I
think
never really
so.
did my
Yeah, I
research.
don't think
I
so.
don't know. I don't know. Yeah. So I had them to show me
Mhm.
and guide me through all of it. So I've been sticking through it for quite a few years now. You know, I hit at least one muscle group every day, sometimes two,
Yeah. Do you do legs?
every week.
Good. I do it like once a month. I'm joking,
Yeah.
man. I gotta
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
more legs for sure though, because it helps the
Yeah.
rest of
My
the body, but it sucks, man. I
yeah.
gotta do it.
Cardio is the one that I skip most of the time.
I well, cardio, it depends on which way. There's like, core exercises you could do that worth your cardio, but like jogging, for example, like I love it in a sick way. I don't know how to explain. I could just jog at a good, decent pace where I never get tired. I'm a smoker. I smoke a pack a day, but I can still do like 7 minute and a half a kilometer and go like 10
Hmm.
kilometers, which is decent, but it's like the only time I can escape. I could just put like a Jordan Peterson podcast or sometimes just music and just like go forever, man, and not think. It's like the
Yeah.
escape. Uh, not into running at all. You don't like it?
No, no,
No.
not really. If I were to do any sort of cardio exercise, I feel like it would have to be, like you said, something outdoors because
Mhm.
I don't I don't see myself going to the gym
Mm.
and running on a treadmill or cycling on a like on a biking on a like a spin bike or anything
Mhm.
like that. Like
Yeah,
it's not really
it's not the
something
same.
that I really enjoy. Yeah, exactly. I've tried it a few times, but it's not a habit that sticks
Mhm.
compared to like lifting weights.
Yeah, for sure, man. But oh yeah, I got a question because I'm curious because I see you tapped in into different styles, and this seems like an interview almost, but it's not really. It's an episode of we just talk about the
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So you got questions too? Shoot it, whatever. Um, have you ever heard of the rapper Scarlord?
Scar Lord?
Yeah.
No.
So he used to be a rapper from London. Then he started doing heavy metal, and then he's like, "Huh, I'll just do both of those genres together." So the instrumentals are very like it's like metal, but a lot of 808s, and the screamings are just like highs all the time. But you should look him up.
Hmm.
He kind of the reason I wanted to mention him, he kind of has like this anime persona. Like he wears like a
Okay.
black mask, like baggy clothes with rips, and like he looks like an anime character. I'll send you his name. It's Scar Lord, but the O is an X instead. Um,
Okay.
look him up, man. Why not? You might like it. It's heavy metal and
Yeah.
rap. It's not like ghost main type of metal rap. It's like the guy screams the whole time, but it's like on the
Okay.
rap beat. It's pretty cool, and maybe you'll tap into that style. Who knows? But
Yeah. There is one artist that I listen to that I feel I don't know the whole like his whole story, but I know he plays guitar, and I want to say he played guitar in a metal band before, but now he's doing like strictly EDM,
mm,
and but he's collaborating with metal vocalists or a bunch of different types of artists. I think his name, yeah, it's Sullivan King.
why that rings a bell? Does he
Yeah,
do? Was he ever like in shows before, like in like movies or? I know there's a
potentially.
guy
I know.
that does like
I,
shows like
Yeah, I know
TV.
he's had a story before doing like the EDM
Hmm.
sort of thing. But I listened to his music. He's got a few songs. The one that that I really like had the singer from Let Live.
Hmm.
That's like a metal hardcore band, and the song that they did together was really really good.
Yeah. I listen to some heavy stuff. Have you ever heard of Nickelback?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What kind of, hey, are you still listening to the same bands that originally got you into this style?
Not anymore, but because I don't really listen to as much metal music anymore or anything that's really heavy.
Hmm.
Um, I listen to mostly a lot of like drum and bass
Yeah.
or like lo-fi, like mostly like electronic chill music. But I will say that I've never really gotten on board with the new like metal bands because when I would still be playing metal, when I would still listen to metal,
Hmm.
I would always listen to the same like 10, 11 bands that got me
Hmm.
into
Hmm.
into the genre. So I'm not listening to them anymore as much as I used to, but I never really branched out and decided to like and
Yeah.
and follow these new bands.
And what were you listening to? Like Chelsea Grin, Bullet for My Valentine,
Oh,
that kind of stuff?
um, no, man. I like maybe more emo than that. Like issues, woe is me, asking Alexandria
Hmm.
were really big for me. Um, I'm trying to think of other bands. Chelsea Grin was definitely on top of my list.
Hmm.
They're one of the bands that really got me into heavier sorts of
Yeah,
music.
for sure. Because if you go from Asking Alexandria to Chelsea Grin, it's a whole different ball game. And I'm
Hmm
not good with
hmm
the how do you call that, subgenres? Like I know in metal music, there's a lot of genres. You know, there's like metalcore, there's this. I'm not good with the names. Um, I don't know if you listen to like there's a band that I like a lot, The Plot in You.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They have some really good songs.
yeah, they have some. That's what I was gonna ask you because your singing vocals are getting good. Your scream moves well been good. And I noticed they often do like singing, screaming. It's hard to explain. They'll like
Yeah,
they'll do the singing octaves while screaming. Is this
yeah,
something you have ever tried doing, or maybe I just didn't look up into your old music, but have you ever tried?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my favorite kind of way of singing is to like yell
Hmm.
the notes. Um, I've with Horcrux we've had it in a few of our songs on our second EP, on the Heretic EP.
Hmm.
I've done a few of those on record, but I not enough. I don't think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, sounds good, man. Um, how much money is on your wall right now?
Oh, on my wall behind me,
Yeah, that's some expensive
quite a
drywall, man.
yeah,
Right.
quite a bit, quite a
Yeah,
bit. Yeah, I would say uh, a couple thousands for sure.
a couple, okay, so I'll
With
just say yeah, 10,000, probably close to hitting
yeah,
10,
potentially.
potentially. Which one is your favorite?
The blue guitar that's right here. That one's been my ride or die since day one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just recently got the brown one that's like
Hmm.
right here behind me,
Yeah,
right here. And I've been really enjoying the sound and the pickups on that one.
yeah.
But the blue guitar, the blue indie, I got that when I was in my very, very first band, and
That's it,
that
dude.
guitar, I will never sell. Like, there's no price that would make me
Yeah,
sell
dude.
that specific guitar. It's so good.
And I'm asking maybe stupid questions, but do you mostly like to play with six strings, or do you like seven strings, eight strings?
I I think um, they all have their different purpose, I
Hmm.
guess. I personally prefer playing with a six string. I do own a seven string, but I've never actually played a seven string in like a professional
Hmm.
environment because
Yeah,
when I got it, I wasn't really playing guitar in bands anymore. I fully
yeah.
switched over to doing vocals. But sometimes whenever I'm recording songs and I just want to get a lower octave, that's when like the seven string will definitely
Yeah,
bring it there. So
yeah.
they all have their different purpose, but I've always played with six.
Mhm.
I prefer six
I think
strings.
it's more than enough strings, man. You know, people gotta be
Dude,
grateful, man. Why my
I
brother's into eight strings and shit? It's like, dude, six is fine. You
yeah,
know?
I have a hard time memorizing like where all the notes are on the fretboard, and when it
Mhm.
comes to like writing stuff, I'm like, okay, what's this note again?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah,
and I can't like with adding another string, you know, you're adding a whole other layer
yeah,
of complexity.
100%. There's a bunch of questions here. I'm trying to think. How long did you want to go for?
As long as you want, man.
Cool.
It's I'm all good.
I appreciate that, man. Um, oh, I got one. Well, I got two actually, but I'll start with this one.
Okay.
Who would you like to make a song with, dead or alive? One song, a studio session.
Oh man, I feel like every time that I participate in any sort of like interview or podcast, every time someone asks me, I don't have a name like that,
Yeah,
and then I think about it like a week later. I'm like, oh yeah, this person is who
yeah, yeah.
I want to play with. Um,
You can comment on the video in a
man,
link.
yeah. No,
Answer.
I think
Yeah,
yeah, I think uh, since I'm really into the Japanese rock genre right now, so I'm just opening up my Spotify because I don't remember the artists all
that's
by
good,
heart.
man.
Yeah, you know, there's this one Japanese rock band called the Oral Cigarettes, and they write some really good songs. So you know, if I could play with them or if I could write a song with them, that'd be
The,
really awesome.
the oral cigarette. That sounds
Yeah.
PG-18.
Yeah.
If you could give up one out of two, playing guitar or screaming.
Oh man. So, I think because I've been doing like screaming and doing vocals for so long, I think I would drop that one.
Oh yeah, eh? That's such a
Yeah.
hard fucking question too, man.
Yeah, but it's funny because I've played guitar in a lot of my bands when I was growing up, and I would always do screaming vocals and playing guitar, but I was never like the fully dedicated
Mm,
uh, like vocalist of a band. And then at some point in one of my bands, you know, the guys were like, "Hey, um, you should try doing vocals," because we couldn't find someone to do it back then.
mhm.
And I was like, "Okay, you know, I'll put the guitar down and we'll try vocals." And that and then I rode that till like last year where I did vocals in pretty
Mhm.
much all of my bands after that. So I had this awesome period where I would play guitar and do vocals growing up, and then I did it for a Skyla Drive. But now if I were to like perform music again, I would do guitar 100%.
And that must be hard though, like, because you're good at screaming and you're good at playing guitar. So if you're just screaming full time, it's like you got that talent on the back burner that you can't use. And if you're playing guitar all the time, you got that talent on the back burner that you can't use. So when a Scarlet Drive was looking for a band member, were they looking for a screamer and a guitarist, or they were looking for someone who did both?
Yeah, they were looking for someone who would either play bass and scream or guitar and scream.
Mm,
Because what had happened is their original member, Brian, their bass player, would also do some of the, or he would do the screaming for the band,
mhm,
and he stepped down. And at the time, Kyle was playing keyboards, but Kyle would also play guitar in certain songs,
mhm,
and so Kyle was like either going to play guitar or bass depending on the person that they found.
mhm.
And when I auditioned, it was for guitar and vocals, but they still asked me even when I first started in the band. They're like, so do you prefer playing guitar or bass? So
Yeah.
Whether it was either one, the person had to do the screaming as well.
Mm. And I heard in an interview, I did a bit of research. I heard in an interview how you would like be home and be like, "Oh, here's a ticket. Go come to Florida tomorrow." You're like, "What the fuck?" Like out of nowhere. So how was that like kind of lifestyle? Like that's really
It
just a bad lifestyle, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's when I started off, it was so awesome. Like I traveled for so long. I left Ottawa. I left Canada like in February, and I didn't come back till July for
Mm.
about 2 weeks, and then I left again for another 3 months and came back for a week. At the end of the year, it was definitely like I was so tired by the end of
Yeah,
it. But when I started off, at the beginning of the year, I was so 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 stoked about it. I was so thrilled.
yeah.
But
As you
when I
should.
got home, yeah, yeah. When I got home from our last tour, um, usually when I would fly back home, I would already have a ticket to come back
Mm.
planned and everything. Or I would have the dates, I would have my schedule and everything like that. But this time, I was headed home back in November, and I didn't have any more details. It was just like, okay, we'll spend the holidays with our families, and then get back together in the new year. Um, I was I was okay with that, but like a week in or 2 weeks after, I'm like, okay, like I'm ready to go again.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
where's my flight?
Yeah. And they're just like, well, we gotta relax a bit. We can't keep making like, at some point you got to take a break from studio time, photo shoots, shows, like a little reset, right? And a creative
Yeah,
reset. And sometimes
yeah,
if you're always trying to create music full time, like I know for some artists it looks like they're super consistent all the time, but like a lot of the stuff is pre-recorded, like it's the dates are all scheduled, and it looks like they're doing music full time, but really they just plan to have like 6 months off, 6 months in. And
yeah,
it's kind of hard to find that balance when you love music that much. And especially at the age you were, I'm not sure how old you were, but this was like everything you kind of dreamed of is to tour and do what you want. So you're like, these guys are used to it, maybe. Like maybe the drummer was really used to it. And you were just like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Okay. You're like a kid, want to
yeah,
go back to tours. Like, dude, I'm tired. I've done this for years. Like, and the drummer was the old drummer of Motionless in White, right?
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Brandon, yeah.
So this guy must have had like he was like the G of the gang, maybe like the guy who's been through all of this before, kind of thing.
Yeah, but the actual band was together since I want to say 2006,
Oh,
2007.
so they all been together.
And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and they started really like doing it full time. I want to say 2008, 2009.
Mm.
So they got like they got a lot of attention really really quick. Um, but they every single member of that band was like dedicated
Mhm.
to the max. Like everyone was 100% into it, and they had been doing Escala Drive since about 2006, 2007.
Mm.
And the drummer Brandon was also touring a lot.
Yeah.
He played in like an industrial death metal band before. I forget what the band was. I know it had the name Witch in it, and then he did. I think it was like the Witch is Right. I think is what it's called. I could be wrong, but after that, he did Motionless in White, and after that, he did Falling in Reverse, and after that,
Huh.
he kind of like jumped around for a little bit, but now he. I remember every time that we would drive somewhere, either him or I, like we clicked together really well when we both joined the band. He would always listen to this band called Bleeding Through, and he was like, that's my band. Like I love their music. I love the message that they put out,
Yeah.
and he's actually playing guitar for them now.
I know,
So
right? Nice.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. So I'm super stoked for him. Like
Yeah.
he works really really hard for
Hmm.
for um to get there. So
Yeah. Well, you too, man. Like whatever you've done in your life, in your career, it's a resume, man. It's a resume. And you guys were, correct me if I'm wrong, but I always say the band name wrong, but everyone knows who I'm trying to say. But didn't you guys open for the Red Jumpsuit Asparagus? I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
say the last
exactly.
word, man. Whatever.
It's a apparatus,
Apparatus. Okay.
but I always say red jumpsuit asparagus as
I
well.
don't know why. I don't know if I'm dyslexic or sometime I'll read something and I'll be like, I'll say it wrong. I say street names
Yeah,
wrong. But
yeah. We did a co-headline tour with them. So
mm,
they would headline the first show, and then we would headline the next show. And so they
oh,
would
that's even
headline.
better, man.
Yeah, yeah. So it was sick. It was really awesome. But what people don't know is that whether whoever headlined, we played the same set every single night. So it's not
Yeah,
like they got more time and we got more time on certain nights.
yeah,
We all just played the same set. You know,
yeah.
they were really awesome with letting like us play our full set, even though on nights that we didn't headline.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was actually the first tour with Skylit that I did back in 2015.
So that must have been like a big, like, not a slap in the face, but like I guess so. Like, so many emotions must have been going through you when you're like, you've had bands before. You've done all of the things you needed to do to get better and get your name out there, and now out of nowhere, you're co-headlining with Red Jumpsuit Asparagus. Sorry, I can't say it. But out of
Yeah,
nowhere,
all
you're
good, all good.
co-headlining a show with them. Was there a moment where like there must have been a moment where you were like, "What the fuck is this? Like, what is going on? Like, this is
Yeah,
crazy."
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
call
It
your mom
was.
almost and be like, "I hope you're happy that I annoyed you with my screaming. I made it, something." But
Yeah, yeah. No, I still remember calling my mom after hearing that I got the role. You know, she was so stoked, and she actually came out. She drove down from Ottawa all the way out to Ohio because that was the closest that we would be going.
mm,
And so she drove it's something like 11, 12, 13 hours
yeah,
maybe. And she drove out, and I remember like I hadn't seen her for like maybe 2 months at this point. And like as soon as we parked in the venue parking lot, she comes out of the car, hugs me, we're both crying.
yeah,
It was definitely a cool moment.
yeah. You lived a good life, man, and you're not even done yet. Like seriously, and I truly believe that something's gonna happen eventually. There's no way, like there's no way someone can be consistent all the time and not get so many other opportunities, Like I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I know we live in a world where like especially now, like everyone's playing guitar. Everyone's good at playing guitar. Everyone's good at screaming, but it doesn't change like the resume, It's all about the resume. And you have the show experience, and I know something right now you're like taking a break from doing shows, but I'm sure the opportunity would come of something. I'm sure you wouldn't like. I'm sure you would take it at some extent if it makes sense, right? And
Hmm.
but you say you're not into heavy metal music as much as you used to be.
Yeah, I would say like not at all.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I haven't I couldn't even tell you the last time that I put on a metal song and really, really enjoyed it.
yeah,
When with my last band, Salem Trials, the last string of shows that we would play would be out of town. So like we played Sudbury,
mhm,
and we played Sherbrooke. Those were my last, and then we played Toronto as well. Those were my last three shows with them.
yeah,
And between the cities, it's about like 5, 6 hour drives, maybe seven, depending on how many drives we take. But and everyone in the band is so like really into metal,
yeah,
and they would get in the car and just crank it all the way, and
yeah,
I'm just sitting there in the back, old man, grumpy. I don't want to listen to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this kind of music, so I kind of just put my headphones in and listen to something else. But no, I don't know. I just don't really enjoy the genre as much
Yeah,
anymore. Yeah, I've been around it for so long. I've been listening. I've been performing in that genre. I don't know. I can't really get into it anymore.
yeah. You changed taste, right? So what if you would join a band, what genre would you like to join? And especially if you're playing guitar,
Um,
right?
yeah, yeah. It would definitely. I would definitely like play guitar if I were to ever join another band. Um, I don't know. It would definitely have to be like something that's more like rock or pop rock
Mm,
and like
I kind of see that though.
something that I want to listen to. Like the perfect example that I can give you is a band called Against the Current.
Okay, I'll look
um,
it up.
they're a pop rock band. The second album that they've ever released, I think it's called Past Lives or
Mhm,
Past Lives. I don't know which one it is. Um, that record like was I heard it the first time, and it's still one of my favorite records that
mhm,
that I ever put out. Um, and a friend and I kind of like we were starting a band in that genre, but I stepped away from it like maybe a year or less than a year ago.
yeah,
Um, like in my opinion, I am personally just not ready to commit to like a project again,
yeah, yeah,
for different reasons. Like mainly being that I don't know if I want to invest so much time into writing, recording,
mhm,
and planning all these different things.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, if I were to ever start something new, it would definitely have to be something in pop or rock.
yeah. So no screaming at all.
No, if is any screaming, like definitely very minimal.
Like just to say in the chorus, there's a bit of screams. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. No, I would see you doing that because pop rock is popping right now. Like a
Yeah,
lot more than before. It kind of died for a while, and I hate to say it. I hate to say it. Maybe I'm just uneducated, but I kind of feel like MGK brought it back like a lot,
yeah.
like pop rock.
Yeah, yeah.
I know some people don't really know the difference between punk rock and pop rock. Um, I would say punk rock is like old school Falling in Reverse, and then pop
Hmm.
rock is like I don't want to say MGK. I want to name an older band, but Blink 182.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
guess if
They
I would have
they
to.
they they're like a special band because they kind of took the rock and then put it in like these different subgenres.
Mhm.
Because there's some songs that they do that are like really punk, but
Yeah,
then there are some songs that they do that are very like pop.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they're definitely a really good example.
Yeah, thank you. I keep getting my flowers, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
But no, I would definitely see you doing it. But I see it like the commitment you have done in your career choices. It's almost you got to look at it almost like it was relationships, right? You can't keep
Mhm.
going on rebounds, right? You got to heal from a breakup and then, heal yourself and then find another woman. It's like kind of the same thing with that. It's like you can't just you're gonna hit a burnout, right? And you don't
Yeah,
obviously you don't want to end up in a place where it's like, who am I? I've worked so hard for so long and now I don't even know who I am. It's kind of the same
yeah.
thing in my opinion. And
Yeah, it's I think I definitely hit that point
mm,
though when with near the end of my like I would say metal era.
yeah, yeah.
By the end of Horcrux, I was already pretty like sick and tired of
Mhm.
listening to metal. And then the drummer for Horcrux was the drummer for Salem Trials as well, which was my last band. And I auditioned for them uh, to do vocals for them because it was very different. Like Horcrux had like a very metalcore aspect,
Mhm.
like a song structure, or like a genre structure. Our songs would follow a certain formula.
Mhm.
But with Salem, it was like really heavy. And like yeah, the song had like choruses and verses and everything like that, but there was no like real like pop or like metalcore structure to it.
Yeah, I get
So
what you're saying. I
I,
get what you're saying. Yeah.
I wanted to like experiment with that, and you know, we wrote some really good songs in my opinion, and the vocals and the lyrics that I wrote for for that band really allowed me to like explore a whole different like subgenre
Mhm.
of heavy metal,
Yeah.
like you were saying earlier. But I don't know, like after the first couple shows, like I just felt the same way that I did by the end of Horcrux, where I'm just
Mhm.
like, man, you know, like I don't really like this
Yeah.
anymore. I don't really want to do this. And essentially I came to the decision on one of our drives to go to one of our shows. I'm just sitting there and I'm like I don't want to go play this show. You know, I
Yeah.
don't feel like performing today. Whereas before, you know, if we had like a 6, 7 hour drive to a certain city and then we get to play a show, I'd be so stoked. I'd be
Mhm.
like really engaged and talk to my bandmates or people at the show. But
Yeah.
like by the end of it, I wanted to go home, you
No,
know?
I feel you. It's like you kind of get, and I was speaking to someone about that. He's an artist as well. And he told me, it's like, after a long time of doing it, you just kind of get immune to everything. And that's when
Hmm.
you lose the passion, right? So that's why I'm glad you're doing, like, the whole story about you doing these TikToks now is because you were living life with your girlfriend and she introduced you to these things and you fell in love with that thing and you got a passion for it, which is originally what made you start this whole journey of yours. And you get to
Hmm.
a point where you get so immune to it that everyone in the crowd could dap you up and say, "That was awesome, dude." And it's like, "Mm, I
Yeah,
know I'm good. I don't know." Like you almost need like, I don't know, the vocalist of Lamb of God to say like, "Hey, you're good," and then you'd be like, "Oh wow, thanks." You get immune to like
yeah.
normal. I hate to say the word, but fans compliments or people complimenting you, or you don't. It's just
I'll
different.
always like I always really appreciate when people like would come up to me and thank and like congratulate me and you know compliment me. You know, that was really always really like that. I always like talking to people and meeting new people. But like you were saying, like usually if someone came up to me, you know, I'd love to talk to that person and ask them questions like, "Oh, do you do vocals? Do you play
Mhm.
music?" But by the end of it, like I was, like you said, I was kind of burnt out and tired. It's like, you know, thank you, thanks for coming out,
Yeah,
but I wouldn't really try to engage
yeah.
and talk to that person.
You
Um,
appreciate it, but you just kind of like appreciate and then move on. You know, it's different.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
different.
yeah,
And I guess it's like that in like almost every aspect, either in your career or your job or your relationships. There's always like um, lose a spark in something, and then you kind of gotta figure out how to get it back. And sometimes it's
yeah,
by just living life and having someone introduce you into a different type of, I guess I'd call it a genre or a culture. And
yeah.
like, I'm
That's
not
definitely
into
what
anime.
happened.
My ex did get me into a show when I was with her a couple years ago, Sword Art Online. That's the first anime
Okay,
show, and I fucking binge watched the entire seasons in like, I don't know, 2 weeks. It was really
yeah,
good. I really got into it, and then I kind of just stopped. But yeah, maybe I should get into it. Who knows? But I know
yeah.
the fan base is really hardcore in there.
Hmm.
And I see the comments. Everyone's like, "Do this next, do this next." After a while, you're just like, "Sure, I'll just take off for 2 weeks, of work, and I'll
Yeah,
just do
yeah,
all of these videos for everyone." Like, there's only so much you can do, but um,
yeah. I have like a Discord server. It's just me. It's just a server that I just throw like a bunch of notes or a bunch of things that I need to get done, like a task list. And I have a channel in there that is all song requests
oh
from people posting on all of my platforms. So either Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok.
yeah,
I'll write down the song and the artist, and I'll put the ones that I want to do in there too. But I think my list is at like 102 songs right now,
oh
or
my
something like
god,
that.
man.
And
That's
I
it.
always tell myself I need to stop adding. I need to like
Yeah,
take a break, get through all of these, and then I can think about adding some more.
yeah. There's only so much you can do to please people, eh?
Yeah, that's why, like, I would tell people before when I started off, I was like, "Okay, everyone, send me your requests. I It's totally cool. I'll do it." And, I got, like 3, 4 all at once, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll write them
Yeah.
down." And then some of them are harder, so I have to take the time to, like, properly learn it, properly record
Mhm.
it. And, so now whenever someone comments it, I just said, "Okay, thank you, adding it to my list.
Yeah.
I'll tag you in a couple weeks when it's done, you know?"
Yeah. Or like in 2 years. Fuck, at
Yeah,
102,
yeah.
man. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad though because these are very, like, short snippets of songs, right? Because it's an intro, a verse, a pre-chorus, and a chorus, and
Yeah, half
and
the
that's
song
it.
basically.
A minute and a half,
Yeah.
and that's it. So I'm usually pretty good at pumping, like, 1, maybe 2 in
Yeah.
an 8-hour period. Um, I can maybe get 3, but,
Yeah.
2 is like perfect. And after doing the second one, I'm just like, "Okay, I'm ready to do something else
Yeah.
now."
But half a song is best thing to do if you're ADHD, right? It's so
Exactly.
like so I don't know, depends of the song pattern, but usually, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, verse, breakdown, chorus, you know? But if
Yeah.
you stop at the chorus, you just did everything. I don't know about you, but after the chorus is done, after I did the verse or whatever, it's like I don't want to do the rest. Blah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's perfect.
and that's what's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah,
what's awesome about these songs is that it's it's just a build up to, like, the hook of the
yeah,
song, right? Like the intro, the verse, and the pre-chorus are just a big build up,
yeah.
and then just big hook. And I feel like that's why I really enjoy doing these videos because I get really attached to the songs because
Hmm.
they're really 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 good in my opinion.
Yeah. And I feel like once the course is done, especially in this world with social media and everyone wants everything fast paced, after the best part of the song is done, um, people scroll. They don't care about the second verse.
Yeah.
But I had another question. Fuck, I forgot. You have a question for me? I don't know. It feels like an interview, but it's kind of like a podcast. But I had other questions. I just gotta look in my notes.
Yeah, no worries, man. I don't have any questions, unfortunately.
Uh, so so you're open minded to eventually go again in a band or whatnot, or you think you're like you've done it all and you're just tired?
I I I don't want to ever say never because depending on what, like, opportunity is given,
Yeah,
I would definitely really really strongly, um like, consider it.
yeah,
But if it has anything to do with, like, heavy metal or any metal of some sort, I can tell you right now that that will probably be, a never.
yeah,
But I've been sort of juggling around this idea of potentially, starting, like, a cover band for, like, Japanese rock of all these, like, anime songs that
mhm,
that I've been doing, forming a full band because originally me playing guitar over these anime intros, I've always had the end goal is to perform at the conventions that my wife and I go to.
mm,
But the way that I play the songs is I play it how the guitar is tracked.
yeah,
Like if you there's the stuff that I do is being done by so many people right now.
yeah,
Like you could go on YouTube and just type in, like, Sword Art Online intro guitar cover,
yeah,
and you'll have people writing these amazing arrangements for the songs,
yeah,
that all sounds really really good. But I like to play the guitar that's been done on that song,
mhm,
so even if there's no, like, crazy lead or crazy solo and it's just chords, maybe people won't really get engaged as much into it. But I feel like if I were to get a band
yeah,
to cover these songs and to perform at these conventions, I feel like that would be some, something that I really enjoy, but I also something that other people would enjoy.
And especially at those type of conventions, yeah. Like you'll have people engaged, Gary. Obviously, like if you're gonna, I don't know, play in a mall, people are just gonna pass look. It's different. But like if you're doing it in places where people are there for that, which is kind of crazy. You just went there with your wife, and then you'd be playing in it years later. It's funny how life
Yeah,
goes.
yeah, yeah. But I also want to like draw the line where, I don't want, because I enjoy going to those conventions with my wife because we get to just disconnect from everything, and
Mhm.
it's just us. We get to enjoy ourselves with the activities, with the food that's there as well. So I don't know if I were to bring music into it, like what would that be like? Like I would definitely want to, but I also see these conventions as like some time off, some time to
Yeah,
just
no, that's
decompress.
that's good self-awareness. You don't want to take away the one thing. Yes, that one thing got you into liking and doing that type of thing, but you don't want to use that event, that place to do that. I get what you're saying.
Hmm.
It's like my jogging. I can't like I like this. I like jogging because it clears my head. You like going there because it clears your head. You don't want to. I get what you're saying to some extent.
It's like if you were at work and then you'd be like, okay, I'll think about this work thing while jogging. Like
Yeah,
it would be the same thing for me. It would be like I'm bringing music on a vacation with me.
yeah,
Like, do I really want to do that?
yeah. You have a better metaphor than me. It makes more sense.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. I was trying to get my words out and I couldn't. But yeah, we've been an hour in, and I'm not sure if I have other questions, but I had one. Um, famous people you have met.
Famous people that I have met. Yes. Okay. My my first night in Hollywood, okay, after our show with the Skylar Drive, I went to a restaurant. I want to say I think it's called The Rainbow.
Mm.
Okay, it's a really popular restaurant in West Hollywood, and I walk in, and Ron Jeremy's sitting at
No
the
way.
bar. Yeah, I can't say that I didn't talk to him because he was like people were coming up to him and taking pictures, and he was with other people. So
Yeah,
I can't say that I met him, but I did see him.
yeah, yeah.
And on my way out after eating, um, Marilyn Manson walks in. So
No way.
yeah,
As
yeah,
this.
yes.
How do you
So
express
again,
your happiness of to someone that you met, Ron Jeremy, and they don't know who he is, and then you gotta
yeah,
explain? It's like,
yeah, yeah,
dude, I
yeah,
shouldn't have to
yeah.
explain this. It's just he's famous for what? It's hard
The
to explain.
movie industry.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But that's funny, man. No way. That's cool. Um, I think that's all I got, man. I had a couple
Cool.
questions, but I didn't want to make it just a question-based type of episode. I kind of wanted to flow with it, and I kind of thought of questions as we went. But I think I cleared up everything, man. And anything you want to add? Social media links.
No, I'm all good. TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, all of that is all at motherfucker Mike, but without the vowels.
Yeah, yeah. I'll put it on the screen. It's
And
it's hard to.
y-
Yeah, I'll have to
yeah,
type it out.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But I just want to thank you, man, for having me on here. It's really awesome. I really appreciate it. And
sure.
we grew up in the same small town, so it was nice to catch up a little bit.
I mostly hung out with. Oh, I got another question. I just thought of it. I mostly hung out with your little brother, and every time I came over, you were in your room screaming or playing guitar. And
Yeah.
that's being consistent, man. Like all the time. And I remember me and your brother played "Rusted from the Rain" at school. Fuck, it sucked, man. Like the
Yeah.
guitar was off of the drums. Like the tempo was too fast for the song. We didn't practice enough, man. It was bad, but again, we were super young. But
Yeah, yeah. It's all about starting off. Back then we thought it was the greatest thing ever, and that's what counts to me.
yeah, it's like when you record yourself playing, you listen to it when you're young, you're like, this sucks. It's like the same thing with I boxed before and I filmed my spars and I think I do good. And then I looked at me sparring people, like boxing, and I'd be like, dude, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like, I was covering
Yeah.
up, being a pussy, lifting up my leg. Like,
Yeah.
now I'm a bit better at it, but I was like avoiding punches, and I thought I was like a beast. And then I look at myself fighting, sparring, and I was like, dude, I'm a pussy. But
Yeah.
last question: if anyone is good at playing guitar or screaming, but they don't know the steps to take to maybe start a career with it, what would you do? Or what would you say?
Honestly, try to find people that have similar interests as you, you know? Um, Try to find people who are as motivated and who are as hungry as you to go and get it because you can only get so far by yourself. And I feel like with with to me, what made Horcrux and Salem Trials so special is that everyone was so dedicated. Everyone was on the same page,
Mhm.
and whenever someone was struggling um, personally or through writing music, if we couldn't figure out a part, or if someone was going through a bad breakup, everyone was there to like
Mhm.
have their backs. So
Yeah.
I think if you're really wanting to make this a career, try to find people who will support you
Yeah.
musically and in your personal life as well. And it doesn't even have to be band members either. It could be
Mhm.
like just friends or professionally speaking, like a manager or
Mhm.
a booking agent, someone who has the same vision as you
Yeah.
will always help you go and
Yeah.
achieve your goal. And people to avoid, in my opinion, would be like someone who wants to make it but doesn't want to take the steps. They have one goal in mind, and it's to play in front of 10,000 people, and they won't play unless that happens.
Yeah, there's no
Like
way. There's no way it will happen,
if
you know?
if you have someone who has a negative mindset and someone like who doesn't have the same goals and ambitions as you
Yeah.
is what will hold you or your band back. You know, you're I always see this seeing online, and it's so true, where people say that your band is only as strong as your weakest member.
Mhm.
If you have one person pulling everyone down, the band will never achieve.
You call
Uh,
that a virus. You don't wanna
yeah,
have a virus, around. And I
yeah.
was talking to someone, I'll end it soon, but I was talking to someone, and he's very talented. And I told him, I'm like, dude, it's simple. Get a laptop, get an interface, download FL Studios, get some plugin, and then you've never recorded a song on your own. Don't start trying to record your own songs. Go to YouTube MP3, YouTube to MP3, download fucking files illegally of bands, and do covers of the guitar. Learn how it works, how chopping works, how mixing works on your own. Engineering, you can do it later, but I told him like, don't jump on trying to like, okay, I'm gonna do the drums. I'll find some drum patterns. There's no way it's gonna sound good. There's no way it's
Hmm.
come. It's not just volume knobs for your guitar and the drums. It's like a whole like EQ, compression, echo, delay. Like, just jump on getting the things you need and record yourself doing covers and like
Hmm.
play it with your computer and try to figure it out on your own. And it's like, yeah, I'm just not good with computers. I'm like, we live in 2023. That's kind of the way to go now. You can't just,
Yeah.
hey, I play guitar. I play guitar. I need to be in a band. You kind of gotta, get yourself a good camera like you do and turn on your camera, turn on record if you want to do it live or pre-record, whatever. You kind of got to start somewhere. So
Yeah,
that's a
and
good advice, man.
everything's so accessible too. Like, you could download FL Studio, and even if you don't know how to use it, you just go on YouTube and you type in FL Studio for beginners,
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's so many guides about
yeah.
how to do X, Y, and Z. It's the same thing with my recording software. I've been using it for several years now, but every time I think of something, but I don't know how to do it, I'll just quick look up on YouTube
Mhm.
or on Google, and then someone will have like a good guide or a good video to show me exactly
Yeah, and
how to
sometimes it's
do it.
just
So
simple. Like
yeah,
record two backends, one on the left side 60%, right side 60%, and then you listen back to your vocals. You're like, oh shit, it sounds fuller, and just stupid stuff like that. And then I'll add more delay on those backends vocals. Um, and like you said, YouTube, you'll learn everything. And I understand some people's perspective where they're like really good at playing guitar and they don't want to become a student again to something. Like I'm already here at playing guitar. I don't want to go down here to try to learn this computer stuff. But it's
Hmm.
either day. What is those saying? It's either one day or day one, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but
Yeah.
I can understand. But that's some good advice. And hey, if they really want to know, they could look at your resume.
Yeah.
Seriously. And back then it was harder, man. It was a lot harder than now.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
it's a total different ball game now compared to
yeah.
when I started, or even when music really started picking up back
Mhm.
in the 50s and 60s. You know, it's a different ball game that continuously adjusts and adapts.
For sure, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. Um,
For sure, man.
I really do. And we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes, which is good because sometimes when I do these videos with people I haven't seen in a while, it can be rusty, but this conversation really flowed well, so I'm happy for it.
Hell yeah.
Anyways, man, thank you so much. The video will come out tomorrow, so if you want to check it out, go for it. And to everyone watching, I love you. I hope you drank your coffee. Mikey wasn't drinking his, so I'm kind of upset, but whatever.
Yeah, I forgot. I totally forgot. But I keep seeing the McDonald's cup,
Yeah,
and like I'm sweating and itching. I'm like, okay, I gotta go make a coffee as soon
yeah,
as
yeah.
we're done.
It's all good. I forgive you this time. It's fine. I forgive you.
Next time I'll have it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
promise.
for sure. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, dude.
For sure, man. Thank you for having me.